Next phone call comes from Gardner, Massachusetts, Republican line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I just wanted to make the voters aware that they should check out massresistance.org. And Mitt Romney, his record for Massachusetts here is that he approved gay marriage of his own authority, and he's saying that it's the courts. In the Goodridge decision, the judges said they had no authority to change the law, so they sent it to the legislator. The legislator did nothing. So Romney is the one that approved gay marriage on his own accord here in Massachusetts. And we have kids being taught homosexuality in kindergarten, and they passed out flyers from this group called PFLAG, this transgender network, and they convinced the kids that they're transgender. Now, there's a lot of money being generated with counselors and all kinds of professionals. And
okay, caller, we'll leave it there. Mr. Anuzis, how is Governor Mitt Romney doing with conservative voters in Michigan?
I think he's doing very well. He's competing with all the other candidates for their position. I mean, he's been very clear that he supports traditional marriage, that he believes that marriage is between a man and a woman. And, you know, I've heard the discussion about the fact that the courts did this. I guess I'm not exactly sure what the caller was referring to, but I think that if you listen to Governor Romney on the campaign trail, you know, and I was at a rally last night where he spoke, he was very adamant about his commitment to traditional marriage and traditional values, and the fact that, you know, he believes a traditional family ought to be between one man, one woman. And, you know, I think if you just take a look at how he's lived his life and the positions he's taken, I think he's going to do fairly well with conservative voters. But, you know, our field in general, most of our Republicans are fairly conservative, mainstream conservative voters, that candidates that are really appealing to the conservative mindset.
On the newspaper endorsements in Michigan, Senator John McCain has a handful of newspaper endorsements, putting them up on our screen right now for our viewers: Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, Jackson Citizen Patriot, Kalamazoo Gazette, Livingston Company Daily Press, and Argus Port Huron Times Herald, and Governor Romney, Grand Rapids Press, and the Oakland Press. How much do newspaper endorsements factor into voters' decision in Michigan?
Probably some. If you're undecided and you really don't know where you want to go, I mean, I'm sure that the editorials and what the papers say matter. But, you know, in Michigan, I think it's not going to be that big of a factor. I think it's going to be, this is a situation where our voters are pretty well aware of what's going on. We have had a chance to meet the various candidates. The candidates have done a very good job of sending their messages out, and as a matter of fact, the opponents have had a good job of framing the messages on what their opponents ought to be like. So I think the electorate in Michigan is fairly well informed. There's a lot of information on the web. There's a lot of opportunity to meet these candidates. And, you know, we have a very high percentage of independent voters in Michigan, and those voters are extremely attracted to the fact that Republicans have been coming to the state, talking to the voters, meeting them in, you know, town hall meetings, question and answer sessions, and doing, you know, interviews, etc. So it'll have some effect, but I think the reality is most of these voters are going to make up their own mind, and it'll be a gut reaction as well as a philosophical one, is who they think the best represents them and who might be the best candidate to ultimately win in the fall.
Where are those independents leaning? What direction?
Hard to say. I think they're very divided. You know, my argument to people has been the Democrats have been ignoring the state. They've basically boycotted the state. So if they're not asking for your vote, why give it to them? And having said that, I think we expect somewhere between maybe 15 to 20%, maybe 25% of our electorate to be independents and or Democrats who are going to come and participate in the Republican primary, which is not an insignificant number of people. And I think that all of our candidates have different appeals to them. Obviously, Senator John McCain appealed to the Democrats and independents in the 2000 election. I think his message, his kind of straight talk message and the talk of reform is very attractive. At the same time, I think you've got somebody like a Governor Romney who's going in and talking about change, talking about being a leader who turned around Massachusetts, who was brought in to turn around the Olympics and make America proud again, and his business experience to create jobs. Mike Huckabee is appealing to the kind of populist voter. He's coming into the evangelical community. He's going into areas that we haven't done before. So I think the independents are getting a lot of choices. They're having a lot of places where they can go and vote, and the Republicans are offering them a lot of opportunity.
As we go to this next phone call, let's put up on the screen all the Republicans that are on the ballot tomorrow. Reston, Virginia, Democrats line.
Hi, Democrat from Reston, Virginia, and I just wanted to chime into the chairman of the Democrat and their board. I think Michigan is last in automobile vehicle design, last in job creation, and first in poor Democrat ballot design. And I urge people to stand for Obama. Good day.
Mr. Anuzis, what about his comments about Michigan and the economy?
Well, I mean, on the economy, he's right in the sense that we are last. I mean, we are in a single state recession here in Michigan, and that's a huge challenge for us from a whole lot of different reasons. Unfortunately, the Democratic governor and the Democrats just shoved through the largest tax increase in Michigan's history. I don't think that's going to help us get out of this situation either. I mean, we need to be more competitive. We need to be more competitive with not only our neighboring states, but with the international community as well. With respect to the domestic auto industry, I mean, I think you have to take a look at what's going on. We're in the middle of the International Auto Show right now in Michigan here. We're making and designing some of the most beautiful, impressive, energy efficient and technologically advanced automobiles that there's ever been. It is very impressive, the new lines that are coming out. So I think that the domestic auto industry in particular, but the auto industry in general, is responding to the public, are making some great cars, are being realistic with respects to moving ahead on making greener, safer, more efficient technology. But at the same time, this is not just an auto state. I mean, we're about 15% of our economy is auto-related and manufacturing. We have a very large agricultural community. We depend tremendously on tourism as well. I mean, the Great Lakes and what Michigan has to offer is very unique in this country. And we're hurting all across the board. Pfizer just left, which is a very large employer that had a lot of high-end jobs, research jobs. So there's other things that are at stake here, and we've got to figure out kind of internally, when you're in a single state recession, there's some things happening here in Michigan, and we're going to have to fix those too.